Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Feel It to Heal It podcast. So today I am celebrating a business slash money milestone experience and talking about how this all happened as a result of healing anxious attachment. If you guys just saw, I launched my program, Come Home to Yourself, for the first time in a year, and I'm so excited to bring this program back. I only open it up for enrollment once a year. So when it's time, when it's Come Home to Yourself time, I get just so excited. So I really want to tie in how healing anxious attachment can literally shift every area of your life. Like, not just, we always think of attachment as in relationships, but we are attached to everything, our money, our careers, our loved ones, our pets, our homes, our things. Like, we are attachment-based creatures. So when we are actually able to shift into secure attachment, which is really just deep self-connection, it shifts how we experience literally every area of our lives. Every area: money, relationships, love, health, our bodies, pleasure. Like, literally no area gets left behind. Oh, everyone's joining. Hi, May. Hi, Paula. Hi, Lynn. Hello, Baked Goods. Ooh, Baked Goods. I love everyone's names. Okay, so let's start with a grounding breath. So breathe all the way in and release. And one more. And side out. Maybe one more. I feel like we could all use a third. And just coming back to the safety of this present moment. Okay, so I'm so excited to share. You guys know me. You know I'm big on celebration. And at the end of 2024, typically I would spend time reflecting on, my business goals and all the things. And for some reason, I did that to a certain extent, but partly it was because my Stripe wasn't fully working, and partly I think I just was avoiding unconsciously. I didn't look at how much I made for 2024. And again, this is very unlike me. I'm a double Capricorn. I love money. I love business. I love all things abundance, all things. Paula says, hi, I was scrolling and saw that you were live, so I dropped in. Yay, I'm so happy. So happy for you to be here. I miss you, Paula. Love you. Okay, so I had a meeting with my accountant, and she was going over everything from 2024. And she told me that I had made over six figures. And I was like, what? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, 2024 was the year that everything crumbled. Like, literally the first half of 2024, had no idea how I was going to pay my rent. Couldn't pay my mentor, couldn't pay my assistant sometimes. Like, literally everything crumbled. Relationship shed, money shed, client shed, old ways of being shed, everything that could have shed. Literally everything. So when she said that I made six figures, I was like, you must be thinking about the year before. There's no way. Like, there's no way that I could have made six figures for a second year in a row when the first 8 months of my business was like gone to shit. And she was like, no, like, yeah, you did. And like, not even quote, like, well over. And I was like, what? And so I just had this moment of like, wait, so you're telling me that even after having an 8 month dark night of the soul, I don't know if you guys have been through a dark night of the soul. I had been through one once before in 2019. Um, but this was unlike any other dark night of the soul I'd ever been through. Like, it was very dark. It was very deep. It was very transformative, as dark night of the souls tend to be if we allow them to be. And the last thing I was thinking about was making six figures that I had made the year before. Last thing I was thinking about, what I was thinking about, I hope I can pay my rent. I hope I can, like, recover my business. I hope I can afford groceries. Like, I was not like aiming for these like big money goals. Like, no, I was in survival mode. So to uncover, like, without me even realizing that, like, the amount that I had actually made, I was just, I was surprised and I also wasn't surprised all at the same time. And I shared it with my mentor the next day, and she was like, Rachel, holy fuck. And I was like, I know, I was shooketh. And she was like, you have to celebrate this. Like, this is huge. Like, she knows better than anyone. Oh, it's going to make me cry. Like, she knows better than anyone what a dark year that first half of that year was for me. And just, we were both just like, what? And the reason why, and I told her, I was like, I need to do a live about this because the reason why this is so important to talk about is that could have had a very different outcome. So when we're going through any type of challenges, any type of dark night of the soul, any type of whatever it is, we get to choose how to relate to it. In the first 3 months, I was relating to it from a place of avoidance, of running away, of fear, fully becoming the captain of my life and fully engaging in all of the addictions. Like not one was missed. All of my former addictions, after healing them, releasing them, came back because this was the greatest test of all. This was like more of a test than anything I had ever experienced in relationship with my addictive behaviors and attachment and all the things, my anxious attachment. And so the first 3 months that really showed in my business because I was not responding to it in a way that was actually helpful. I responded to it in a way that was literally making everything worse. And so after those first like 3 to 4 months of fully running away from myself in ways that like, oh God, I still cringe at sometimes. Like I have been with the shame and I was able to like release more of it. But like looking back at that version of me, I just want to give her the biggest hug. Like she was so fucking scared. I literally lost everything at once. The guy I was dating, the one-on-one container with my mentor, the best friend that I had at the time, literally within the same month, all three at once. My nervous system went into full-blown panic. And after those initial months, I was like, okay, I need to come back to myself and I need to have something positive come out of this because I cannot keep drowning in this. So I finally started getting real honest with my healing group about how fucking terrified I was because my ego wasn't letting me admit that because I was like, oh, I should be okay, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, why the fuck did I think I would be okay? Like, went through severe loss, which is an anxiously attached person's worst nightmare, and was losing clients, was not affording shit. Like, everything was crumbling and it was fucking terrifying, like, out of body experience terrifying. I felt the most alone I'd ever felt in my life. And when I finally decided, because it is always a decision, we always have a decision of how to relate to things. When I finally decided, I am going to come back from this, I am going to relate differently to this. I then spent the remainder of those 8 months. So it was 8 months minus the first three. So like 5 months of fully feeling my fear, of fully feeling like I was dying, of fully allowing myself to feel the pain and move through the pain. And then by doing that, excuse me, things started to shift. Shocker, because that's what happens. We move first with courage, and the universe then responds. And things started to shift externally. I started to feel more like myself again, but not the old version. I started to feel like I was actually getting to know my most authentic self. I was starting to actually become the person that I was always meant to become. I started becoming my own anchor of safety. And after healing anxious attachment for 2.5 years in a container with my mentor, to be able to take all that I had learned and actually integrate it was literally a dream beyond my wildest dreams. Like becoming my own anchor was something that I had always wanted, but I didn't really know what that meant. I didn't know, oftentimes we attach onto, well, secure attachment means don't ask for validation or don't do that. It's like these very like specific things, behavioral things. But really what I experienced in that outer body and then coming back into body was this deep landing of being my own anchor. And it's like, it's so hard to even put into words. It was like these moments where I would normally have felt connected or attached to this thing outside myself or this person outside of myself or my safety outside of myself. And I then would feel the shift of it coming back to me. And it would feel terrifying because I then started to not feel safe with people because I was so used to being enmeshed with people. I was so used to people being my source of safety that when I realized, like embodied, that they weren't my source of safety, it then went the opposite way where I felt terrified to be with people because I didn't know how to relate to people as my own anchor. I only knew how to relate to people through attaching onto them. So it was this weird transition period. It was like I was crawling out of my skin. It was so uncomfortable. And it was this feeling where I would be out in public with a group of friends and I would like feel this intense surge of fear of like little me being like, wait, where's my safety? My safety went away. And then me having to land back in my body. And it was several instances of this like intense surge of fear of looking outside myself and being like, holy fuck, I'm alone. Holy fuck, I'm alone. None of these people are my safety anymore. To, oh, wait, I am my safety. I don't need them to be my safety. I am my safety. And I still have these people as people who love me and care about me, and I'm not actually alone. So, once I started making these shifts and once I started moving through the fear, I then had the biggest launch that I had in my business. Because again, if you're doing business coaching and you're not uncovering what's happening in your nervous system, you're just going to fucking spin in circles because the nervous system is the blueprint and the foundation for literally everything in your life. Everything. So if you are doing business from a strategy place or a money mindset, like none of that shit works if you don't actually get to what is happening in your nervous system, what is happening for your inner child, what is happening for your body, because all those things are either going to dictate blocking your abundance from coming in. And this is regardless if you have a business, this is just how the energy of money works. You're either blocking that abundance or you are becoming an open magnet and vessel to attract that abundance in. So when I was running away from myself, I was not making money. When I was actually doing the fucking hard, painful, like gut-wrenching work, I then had the biggest launch in my entire history of business, which was my Authenticity Unleashed program. And when I tell you guys that the day that I launched that program, I was a fucking mess. I was so dysregulated. I was so disheveled. My self-belief was so low at that point because of everything that I had lost, everything I had been through. And I like had no hopes for this launch. And it took me having to move through that resistance and be like, I was so worried about like, well, I don't want to launch it in this energy because then it's going to be bad energy. And then I'm like, no, like just fucking feel the fear and do it anyway. Like I always tell you guys. So I felt the fear. I did the work on my sales page and I launched it and I tapped back in and I just fucking went all in. And I had 10 people sign up, which is the most amount of people I'd ever had sign up for a program. The most I ever had before that was 4. So this was, yeah, more than double that. I had 10 people, so many people that I ended up doing 2 groups. All those people are still in these 2 groups with me. I now created a mastermind, which then created a whole other program. And those last remaining, 5 or 6 months of the year, I started creating abundance again. Now, did I think that that abundance would be enough to catch up from all the first months that I was drowning? No. I thought, okay, maybe I would make 50,000, 60,000 if I'm lucky. I did not think that I made that much. So I share that to say, 1, I'm celebrating that. It's fucking huge. I was mind blown. 2, that happened as a byproduct of becoming my own anchor, the universe, and not thinking about it, not focusing on, oh, I have to make 6 figures. No, like truly doing the work to become my own anchor of safety, because that is what allowed me to hold 10 people, more people than I had held in a group before. That work was the work that allowed me to feel safe to receive abundance for my authentic self rather than the traumatized version of me. The universe always rewards courage, but we have to move first. So, had I continued to just run away and let my inner child run the show, I probably would have had a very different year. But this is the power of healing anxious attachment. This is the power of releasing control. This is the power of surrendering to our soul's journey of what we're meant to go through without placating to the stories that want to come up, the victim narratives, the like. I had someone tell me today in my DMs, like, stop blaming people. I'm not blaming people. I'm empowering you to come home to your power and asking you to stop blaming the things outside of your your uh your control, because that doesn't actually help anything. It doesn't help you. It literally just makes things worse. So because I had done that work, the universe then rewarded me without me even really realizing. Like, yes, I realized that Authenticity Unleashed was a huge success. And then that led into those clients continuing to work with me, because once you start this work, it's rare that you want to stop it. If anything, you just want to keep going to access the deeper and deeper layers of healing and growth, and then of expansion. Like, once we do the healing, we then get to do the fun part, which is the expanding. It's like we go in, we heal, we extract all the crap, and then we glow and expand out. And so it was just a beautiful, powerful example of when you relate from your power, from your faith, from believing in yourself, even when you feel like shit, even when you feel like you don't believe in yourself, the universe will then meet you and match that energy and support you through some of the darkest times in your life. And so I always say, if we're going to go through dark shit in life, painful shit in life, hard shit in life, why wouldn't we want to get rewarded and paid for that? Why wouldn't we want to get something out of it? Because if not, we just perpetuate the cycle of suffering and we stay stuck. Why not do something different that actually gets you a different outcome? Why not actually experience something positive out of it? And that doesn't mean bypass your pain. That doesn't mean pretend everything's fine when it's not. It means choose how to relate to that pain. Feel the pain. Don't let the pain consume you. Feel it and allow it to move through. And if you struggle to do that, it's because you don't have internal safety in your body, because there is a lot of unprocessed pain from childhood living in your body. So that is literally what this work is about, is helping you feel safe to feel your feelings so that they stop taking over. Because every time you want to shut down or numb or avoid or grasp outside of yourself or attach, that is all little you. That is a little child in you saying, this feels too heavy to hold, so I'm not going to hold it. And this is what relational healing is about, is that you don't have to hold that alone, because you can't. You haven't learned how to hold that alone. So relational healing is me holding it with you until you learn how to hold it with your younger self, so that the younger self then becomes integrated. I had a client ask me this in my membership. She was like, what are we supposed to do? Tend to our inner child forever until we're old and gray? And I was like, no, we have to integrate her. Right now, she is taking over your body. And we have to then externalize her as a separate part of you, to look at her, to tend to her, to attune to her. And then once she becomes separate and we have some distinction between adult you and little you, which is hard because sometimes when she's taking over, you can't see the difference. We create that difference. And then once we create that difference, she then gets integrated. How does she get integrated? We hold her, we help her feel safe, and then she just stays in here in our hearts. But she doesn't take over, and she's not hidden away. She's just here. She's like in your heart. You're just holding her. She's feeling safe. And then you, adult you, authentic you, powerful you, authentic you, I'm going to say that again, authentic you, gets to relate from your adult self rather than from her, because she's just in here feeling safe. So she's not like banging on the door trying to get her needs met. May said, cheers to that. I'm happy for you, legit smiling, listening to this. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for celebrating with me. Yeah, guys, this was like, I was shooketh. Like, I was shooketh, but I also wasn't surprised, because I was like, yeah, go figure. Like, I put in some serious work, and the sugar daddy universe loves to pay us for doing the work. Literally, how cool is that? The universe loves to pay us for doing the work. And if you're doing the work, you are opening yourself up for abundance to come in. If you're avoiding or staying in unhelpful stories that are just perpetuating suffering, you are not going to be seeing abundance come in. And I shared this with you guys. When I was sleeping with the ex that I was not supposed to be sleeping with, I literally would lose clients. But then when I was actually engaging with the cute neighbor who I was meant to experience that connection with, to help heal my anxious attachment and birth out my Come Home to Yourself group, I was making money. The universe will always respond to what's happening internally. Money responds to your energetic frequency. So if your energetic frequency is bypassing your shame, bypassing your pain, bypassing your sadness, bypassing your trigger because your ego's too big to let you admit when you get triggered. We all get triggered. We need to own it so that we can use the trigger and alchemize it. When we think that we are above triggers, that's all your ego. That's all your shame. So you have to allow yourself to actually feel the shame, to feel the pain, to feel whatever is coming up and be honest about that. Because we can delude ourselves beyond belief. We can say, oh no, I don't feel shame, or oh no, I don't feel scared, but you're human. So you're basically saying you're not human, but you are human. So you do feel shame. You do feel sadness. Now, whether you allow yourself to feel it or you allow that to run the show, everything external will reflect that back to you. So if you are stuck feeling sick, feeling broke, feeling like you are suffering, suffering indicates that you're not actually feeling the pain and the feelings that need to be felt, because suffering is a disconnection from self. So when we're suffering, it's because we're disconnected from ourselves. And if we're disconnected from ourselves, we're disconnected from our emotions that live inside of us. When we feel the emotions living inside of us, we then reconnect home to ourselves. So when you're honest about how you're actually feeling without making that mean anything about you, you get to reconnect home to yourself. I had a client last night where she was fighting her feelings so badly. She was making it mean so many things. And I looked at her and I said, for as long as you deny that you have these emotional needs that were not met in childhood, those emotional needs are just going to continue to get louder. But for as long as you actually own those needs and own what you need, like for me to heal my anxious attachment, I had to own the need that I needed validation sometimes, because I literally never learned how to trust myself or trust my feelings. I needed holding. I needed to be told everything was going to be okay. Like I just owned what I needed. And then at a certain point, it got to a place where it's like, okay, I can't ask for validation anymore because I need to show my body I'm safe without it. I can't go to those old ways of being because I'm at a place where I need to show my body that I don't need it anymore. But to get to a place of not needing the need, we have to meet the need. That's the whole point of this work. The whole point of this work is let's meet the unmet needs from your childhood so that you won't need them anymore. Think about that. If you have an iron deficiency, so you start eating more red meat for iron, and maybe you take some digestive enzymes to help you digest the iron, then you won't have an iron deficiency anymore, and maybe you won't have to take the digestive enzyme anymore. Or maybe you won't have to eat as much meat, or maybe you'll just have to maintain the meat. If you're dehydrated and your body has a need for hydration, and so you take a large jug of water with some minerals and electrolytes in them and you hydrate, you're not going to need another large cup of water and minerals and electrolytes because you have met the need. It's the same thing for our emotional needs. Holding, validating our feelings, holding us accountable to coming home to our power, being seen, being held, being understood. Now, do we use those needs as a way to project onto others and be like, well, you're not meeting my needs or you're doing this? No, we are responsible for meeting our needs, whether that means getting them met through a healing relational container like I do with my clients, or a safe friend that you can go to, or practicing with yourself. We need to both give it to ourselves as well as getting them met through safe grounded nervous systems. But the places that we go to that actually can't meet them, we can't then make those people wrong for not being able to meet them. It's not their job to meet them. It's your job to actually discern between people who can meet them and people who can't meet them without projecting that out. Okay, so I think let's start wrapping up. Does anyone have any questions around any of this? The relationship between anxious attachment and abundance. There's a whole module on just this in my program, Come Home to Yourself, which I just opened for enrollment today, and we already have the first spot taken. I'm so excited. But there is a whole module, I think it's module 8, all on abundance and anxious attachment, of how when we heal our anxious attachment, we allow the flow of abundance to come in. How do you relate to your money? Do you hoard it? Do you not feel safe to hold it and just spend it all? Do you not feel safe to circulate it? Do you not feel safe to receive it? What is your relationship with money? That will be based on your attachment style. So if you are an avoidant attachment style, you will be avoiding looking at your money, managing your money, trusting yourself with your money. If you are an anxiously attached attachment style, you will be grasping onto your money as if it is your safety, which it's not. You will be feeling fear around actually releasing it, because what if it doesn't come back? If you are a disorganized attachment, you'll have that push and pull relationship where it's like, I'm going to spend all the money anxiously, or I'm going to hoard it, or I'm going to avoid it and not look at it at all. It's like that hot and cold. So, based on whatever your attachment style is, I can help you rewire it into a secure attachment where you feel safe to receive, feel safe to hold, feel safe to intentionally spend, and allow the circulation of money to continue. Because money is just energy, just like anything else. Our emotions are energy. Money is energy. So what happens when our emotions are not flowing with the energy? That blocks the energy that's mirroring that. That is science. Mirrors. Okay. All right, guys, if you don't have any other questions, thoughts, feelings, we're going to wrap up here. Thank you for celebrating with me. I am so fucking just amazed at just how this work works each and every time. Like, it never gets old. And yeah, this coaching world it's not easy, to say the least. Entrepreneurship is not easy. And so making 6 figures feels like a really big deal. And then to do that once, let alone 2 years in a row, especially after a dark night of the soul, it feels really fucking powerful. And I share that to say that no matter what you are going through, you literally get to decide what you want to get out of it. You get to decide how to relate to it. You get to decide, I want to create magic from this. And that's what I did with my anxious attachment. Is I took what I was going through with my anxious attachment and I created an entire program out of it, which I then tattooed on my arm. And that is my Come Home to Yourself program, which is now open for enrollment. We start Monday, April 7th. If you're not sure if you have anxious attachment, head to link in my Instagram bio to do the free anxious attachment healing series. It's a 3-video series where it will teach you what anxious attachment is. You will get clear on if you struggle with those symptoms and if it's the right program. You can also DM me or email me to chat to see if it's a good fit. It is application only. It's a small, intimate group, and you can also apply to have a free consultation call with me so we can chat to see if it is in alignment. All right, my loves, thank you for celebrating me. Here's to another 6 figures and beyond year, no matter what we do, no matter what we're going through, and alchemizing the pain into money, the pain into growth, the pain into healing, the pain into expansion, the pain into teaching you how to heal the pain. Because the more I go through it, the more I get to guide you guys along right beside me. All right, love you. I will see you soon. Bye.